It Sri Charitropakhyan Triye Charitre Mantri Bhub Samadhe 405 Charitra Samapatam Mast Sobha Mast Avju. Now, let's just go through those words. It Sri Charitropakhyan. It means here. It Sri Charitropakhyan. Here is Charitropakhyan Granth. Now, what is Charitropakhyan Granth? Charitropakhyan Granth is the name for the Granth that contains 405 stories of clevernesses. Now, Opakhyan, Charitropakhyan, Opakhyan means old. Op means old. Akhyan means stories. Old stories that used to have a moral lesson inside them. So stories that had a moral lesson, and specifically the Charitropakhyan. So it's stories that are talking about the clevernesses. Charitra means clevernesses. Clevernesses of both males and females. In Charitropakhyan Granth, it is not purely stories about women. It's also stories about men. But majoritarily, it's stories about the clevernesses that people can play on each other, okay, around lust. A lot of it is around lust and power. Okay. So Maharaj says, It Sri Charitropakhyan, Triya Charitra. These are the clevernesses of women. Triya means women, but it can also mean Maya. Okay. Mantri Poop Samadhe. What is happening here? What do those three words mean? Mantri means a minister, Poop means a king, Sambadhe means between each other. What is happening in Charitropakhyan Granth? I've gone into this in detail when we did Chaupai Sahib and in Dasam Granth Katha. But specifically what's happening here is that the whole of these 405 stories, they're within a sort of composition. There's a super story and each one is a sub story within that super story. What is a super story? There is a king. The king has a son. The son is very beautiful, very wise. Everybody expects the king for him to be the next king. But the king goes and marries somebody very young again now, his second wife. The second wife, she falls in love with the prince. She tries to tempt the prince towards her. The prince says, no, you are like my mother. You're my father's wife. How can I do anything with you? She gets upset. So what does she do? She rips her clothes, she scratches herself and says that he tried to rape me. She starts screaming rape. Now what happens? The king arrests the son. Because he loves his wife so much, his new wife, he comes under her cleverness and he starts to think that the son is guilty. And he then puts his son in prison. He orders the son to be beheaded, to be killed. Now, the son is innocent. And the wise minister that works for the king, he knows the son is innocent. He can see that this new wife is trying to be clever. So what does he do? Whenever the king is going to call the son to be executed, he says to the king, hold on, let me tell you a story. And the king goes, go on then. And he tells him a story, and the story takes all day until it's too late for the king to now send his son to death. And these stories are within the super story. So every time the king says, bring the son out, he says, let me tell you a story. And he goes through stories upon stories upon stories about how, he doesn't say to the king, because he's clever as well, he doesn't say to the king, your wife is a liar. Because what's that going to end up with him doing? Putting him in prison as well. But instead, he tries to get the king to realize, using these stories, that maybe his son is also innocent. And he should be careful before he just trusts this woman's word without any judgment. And it's not just specifically about women, but people within Kaam, in stories of lust, they often do lie. So obviously there's rules, even in this country there's rules about anonymity. So if somebody makes an allegation against you, it's kept anonymous, and so that people can work out if that is true or not, before they blast it on Facebook and social media, and this you're basically complete, you never come back outside again. Yeah? You know how it is nowadays. People blast things without any allegations, and trial by internet or Facebook is not a very good trial. Yeah? All that happens, you get is rumor upon misconstruction being spent everywhere, and it's not very realistic, it's not very good. So, Maharaj says, Mantri Poob Samadhe, these are the stories that were said between the king and the minister. Guru Gobind Singh Ji created this fiction, this work of fiction where the king is having a conversation between the minister, and within this conversation there's all these stories being read out, and the stories are teaching something. They're teaching about how clever the world is. Now why might someone say, why is Guru Gobind Singh telling you these stories? Right? Why is Guru Gobind Singh constructing this system? Why not just tell us straight, be careful about this? Because sometimes they say that the truth is stranger than fiction. What happens in real life can be stranger than a book that you might write in fiction. People would not, if you wrote down some things that happened in real life, people would say that could never happen. Because it's so strange what happens in reality. And Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj starts to tell these stories. To whom is he telling these stories to? Is it for the armed Sangat? No. When we sit here in a Gurdwara, we don't tend to do katha of what happens in Charitropakhyan and Granth. Normally, that was taught to the Naujawans separately. The women and the men would sit together and they would have what you might call moral classes. And people would teach. And my friend in Birmingham, he went to classes like this when he was about 13, 14 years old. The Granthi would sit down and he would go through the Dasam Granth Sahib and tell them the stories that Guru Gobind Singh is talking about. Why was that? Why were they taught separately? Because people can be aware of what goes on out there. You see, the Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj and Sikhi in general has made Sikhs into very pole pale, very innocent. We don't know how bad people can be out there. That's why a lot of our girls get trapped in grooming. They think everybody's hunky-dory, everything's fine, they're all friends. They're like the Sikhs. Everybody's lovely, all religions are the same, we're all friends. It's all happy-go-lucky out there. Then suddenly they find themselves trapped. And someone is doing things, he's wearing a kada, they assume he's a nice person. Takes the kada off, his name is something else. He does things that you would not believe and you wonder, what's going on here? I didn't know people could be like this. Why don't we know? Because in a Gurdwara, because of the Guru system, we are quite nice people. Generally, Sikhs are known for being quite nice, quite giving. Men are supposed to be protecting women. So our women and our men, we get lulled into this false sense of security that everybody out there is like us. But they're not. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is telling these stories to the Khalsa. So the Khalsa wakes up and realizes that the people out there are not so nice. Because a lot of these times, the Singhs were Chakravarti Fauj. There were armies that were travelling outside. They were Byangam, they were not married. So they would go out, bunch of single men, tall, strapping, strong. Okay, and out there, they would be the targets of many women. The Guru Gobind Singh wanted the Khalsa to realize what could also happen to them, so they become armed with knowledge. When we say arm yourself with knowledge, it's not an empty thing. Gyan Khadag is very important. And if you think that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not talking about these things, it's not true. Guru Granth Sahib Ji also talks about these things. Even this morning in the Hukamnama I was reading, Kabir Ji starts talking to the mind, Man Baurare. The Shabad in that podi you've already heard. When I read it before that, Maharaj says, look at the monkey. He puts his hand inside to get hold of the anaj. Markat mushti anaj ki man baurare lini haath pesar. Chutan ko sahsa parya man baurare nachyo kar karbar. And they say that the monkey has put his hand inside the bottle to get hold of the corn, but now his hand is trapped, he can't pull it out because his hand is spread out now. Markat mushti anaj ki man baurare. They're talking to the mind. They say, look at the monkey, he was greedy, he's got lobe, attachment, he can't let go of that anaj. Now he's trapped, becomes into a dancing monkey. In the same body, they start talking about the elephant, and how the elephant, because of his lust, gets captured. They make a woman out of straw for the elephant to get captured as well. They will capture us in the same way. Kaljug has a very big weapon, calm. And it will take somebody who is trying to get this way and it will bring you down somewhere else. I know of people that I thought were very Chardikala, they fell off this path. They fell from Amrit because of calm. And I'm sure everybody around here could tell a story about people that had nice married life, everything was going well, and suddenly calm came in and it ruined them. So let's not pretend that calm is not a big problem for this world. It's a big problem for this world. And Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj is telling us these stories to say, Sikho, bach ke raho. Don't think it's all easy out there. You go in the real world, the truth is stranger than fiction. So let me tell you some fiction that's actually not as strange as reality. You can arm yourself with a better knowledge so you don't get trapped when you go out there. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, they used to say in the army. Little bit of knowledge helps you so much. So, and these stories are not about women only. Like I said before, this Charitra of men as well. So Maharaj says, 405 Charitra Samapatam Mast Sub Mast. This is the Samapti of those 405 Charitra. And they say that sometimes let it be blessed is completed, but sometimes also read as Ash Subham Ast. Doesn't matter which way you read it, it means the same thing, that these stories are blessed and they're finished here.